Get ready for the dictation. On the count of 3, 2, 1, start. In another specter of violence in Jammu and Kashmir, J&K, 5 soldiers were killed and another critically injured in a terror attack on April 20 in the Rajouri Poonch sector close to the line of control LOC in the Jammu division. Preliminary reports have suggested that terrorists, their numbers and affiliations are not known immediately, attacked in inclement weather an army vehicle that was on a counter-insurgency patrol between Bimbar Gali Poonch in the Rajouri sector. The attack also comes at a time when J&K is working diligently to host a G20 tourism working group meeting in May. Separately, Pakistan's Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Sardari is likely to attend a Shanghai Cooperation Organization (SCO) meeting in Goa next month, which has kindled the possibility of fresh India-Pakistan engagement. The attack raises the question about the management of patrols in sensitive locations in the region, which has seen a spike in militant violence in the recent past, including a terror attack on a village on January 1 this year that left 7 civilians dead. The fact that the army vehicle was on an unaccompanied drive and remained unattended immediately after the attack is a matter of serious concern. The images of the army vehicle on fire and charred bodies have reignited memories of and visuals from the Pulwama attack in 2019. On February 14 that year, a convoy of buses with Central Reserve Police Force Jawans was on the Jammu-Srinagar National Highway way in Pulwama's Lethpora area when a suicide bomber in an exclusive laden car managed to breach security. 40 personnel lost their lives in the terror attack that shocked the political class, the military establishment, and the country, with Indian intelligence agencies pointing to the role of the Jaish-e-Mohammed (JEM). India sent its fighter jets across the line of control to strike JEM training camps in Balakot, Pakistan, inflicting casualties and damaging the terror infrastructure there. India's strident response to cross-border terror was noticed internationally and became a topic of campaign during the Lok Sabha election soon after. However, terror emanating from Pakistan has failed to ebb, which is evident from the rising violence in J&K over the past 3 years, especially after the government decided to end the region's semi-autonomous status on August 5, 2019. Claims on the subject made recently by the then J&K Governor Satyapal Malik in interviews have brought to the fore fresh questions about the intent behind the political class while approaching the issue of terrorism in the country. Perhaps it is time India reviewed its strategy in Kashmir, including the current freeze on talks with Pakistan. In recalling its recommendation to appoint Justice S. Muralidhar as Chief Justice of the Madras High Court, the Supreme Court Collegium has let the Union government, which did not act on the decision for 8 months, have its way. One can only conclude that the centre has been deliberately refraining from acting on the recommendation, presumably to stall the transfer. The Collegium has now decided instead to propose the name of Justice S.V. Ganga Purwala, a judge of the Bombay High Court, as the next Chief Justice of the Madras High Court. The reason appears to be the Collegium's keenness to have a permanent Chief Justice for the High Court, as the senior-most judge has been acting as Chief Justice for nearly 8 months. It was decided in September 2022 that Justice Muralidhar would be shifted from the Odisha High Court to succeed Justice M.N. Bhandari, who retired as head of the Madras High Court. Meanwhile, Justice T. Raja, the senior-most judge in Chennai, was acting as Chief Justice, but it was decided in November 2022 that he would be shifted to the Rajasthan High Court. Justice Raja's representation that his transfer be reconsidered was rejected by the Collegium. However, the centre did not notify his transfer to, resulting in his continuance as acting Chief Justice in the Madras High Court for an unusually long period. He is due to retire on May 24, 2023. As if to underscore its disapproval of the state of affairs, the Collegium resolution reiterated that Justice Raja's transfer be effectuated at the earliest and observed that even his continuance as a judge would not be an impediment to the appointment of Justice Ganga Purwala as Chief Justice. There are recent instances of the government highlighting the political views of prospective appointees to stall their elevation to the bench. In most cases, however, inaction is the main means to stall an appointment. A question that arises is whether such deliberate inaction on the centre's part will be allowed to be the norm. The last move will no doubt embolden the centre to exercise a right to veto any appointment or transfer proposed by the Collegium. Notwithstanding the flaws in the Collegium system, the present state of affairs bodes ill for the independence of the judiciary. The system is founded on the premise of judicial primacy, but it now appears that the executive has found a way of circumventing it merely by refusing to give effect to the Collegium's recommendations. In effect, the present regime has appended the legal position that the recommendations are binding on the government if the Collegium reiterates its stand with regard to any appointment.